Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, OnPay. Without them, we could not be sharing these stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Ali Awad, and he is the CEO lawyer. Welcome.
Thank you very much, my friend. How are you?
I am doing well. Before we get too far into things, tell us about what you're up to. How are you serving folks?
Well, I am a personal injury lawyer. My name is Ali Awad, and I help injured clients make a wad of money. I started my practice just about 4 years ago, and the way I've done it and the way I plan on continue doing it is by just giving free legal advice on social media. So my username on all my platforms is CEO Lawyer. And I have, all this free legal advice and content, not just personal injury related, but business related. Sometimes we post immigration issues, criminal defense issues, literally any piece of information. With the recent coronavirus pandemic, we put a lot of stimulus check information on how businesses can take advantage of those EIDL loans. So I'm just all about giving free legal advice and valuable content to people on social media. And that's sort of how I've built my brand. So now, when you were in school and decided to become a lawyer, what drew you to being a personal injury attorney? Well, to be honest, I grew up in a small town in Dalton, Georgia, where 80% of the population was Hispanic. So coming from a Middle Eastern family, I would speak Arabic at home, English in school, and Spanish with my friends. And so naturally, I figured because I'm good with languages and I'm fluent in all three, I would just do immigration law. And that was my plan all along, literally even got published on immigration law while I was in law school. But when I interned for an immigration firm, I felt like I was so helpless in so many situations because the law is extremely slow and outdated. And sometimes you'll work for 30 minutes and have to wait a year to get a response from the court or to get a hearing set. And so I just didn't feel like I was serving at my maximum capacity as an immigration lawyer. And then I went to these seminars for personal injury attorneys because I was trying everything, right? I was trying business litigation. I was trying interning with various law firms. And when I stumbled across personal injury, I found that not only did we have such a phenomenal community of plaintiff lawyers, but they genuinely cared about not only making the max and the best for their clients, but changing the laws so that they're more consumer friendly and not friendly for, the corporations and the massive insurance conglomerates. So after attending some of those seminars, and I have a full story on like the exact moment that I knew I was going to be a personal injury lawyer. But, to make a long story short, I attended some seminars. I fell in love with it. I started reaching out to clients by giving out free legal advice on social media at CEO Lawyer. And one thing led to another. And, now we've got one of the fastest growing law firms in Georgia and dare I say in the Southeast. So now, when you decided to kind of go the personal injury route, did you work for other personal injury attorneys or did you just kind of become entrepreneurial all at the same time? So I would say one of the hardest things I ever did was work for someone. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I had started online businesses when I was literally 10 years old. My first eBay store started in the late 90s. I remember in middle school where my mom would have to pick me up from school early so that I had enough time for her to drive me home so I can package up these Audiobahn amplifiers and ship them all over the world because I was just selling electronics and literally anything I could get my hands on. I had a graphics company for like 7 years. I became an expert at car audio and wheels. Anything I can literally do to make some money because we grew up very poor, and when you grow up poor, you're just a hustler. You're going to do whatever it takes to not go back to that. And so, but I knew that just being a hustler and being a hard worker just wasn't enough. I needed the foundation. So I worked for a total of about 14 months with a law firm. And I'm very vocal about this because I was getting paid 40 grand a year as an associate attorney with a doctorate in law and a master's in business, multiple languages being fluent. I had all these certificates and diplomas from international universities because I studied abroad everywhere. But I had to put all of that ego and pride to the side and say, no, if I really want to become an expert in this industry and this is where I want to put all of my effort, I have to understand the fundamentals. So that was like basically a very low paid internship for me because all of my friends were making six figures, right? And I was basically that broke kid that talked a big game and could never really live up to it. So I worked for about 14 months, and then February 12th of 2017, I quit my job, started my law firm, and then in my first full year of business in 2018, I settled $3.2 million in cases for my clients, which was a huge milestone. And then right before turning 30, I hit the $10 million mark in settlements for my clients. So I thank God, and I'm so happy and just thankful for all the opportunities that I've had up until this point.
So now when you're in that field, it seems like, I mean, I don't know anything about that industry at all. The only thing I know about personal injury is what I see on commercials and billboards. And it seems like a handful of law firms dominate those kind of that brand ubiquity of their brand is on every bus, every billboard, every TV commercial. Like it seems like you're just bombarded with those kind of advertisings. How does a new business, kind of a hustler, kind of compete with that when it seems like their brands are everywhere and they're kind of dominating that top of mind and the top of most funnels?
You know, I absolutely love that question. And I'll give you a little bit of preface before I go into how I'm actually doing it. Very rarely will you find someone that is very successful at what they do, that is willing to take money away from something that is working to put it into something that is speculative. And I discovered that around 2017 when I realized that no law firms were taking Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, all of these social media platforms seriously. And so I started just pushing out content heavy on social media. I've done thousands of videos on legal advice, business advice, motivational tips, just entrepreneurial information. And I've gotten to a point now where I get about 2 to 5 million views a month just on Facebook. I'm one of the most followed personal injury lawyers in the United States. And currently, almost all of my clients come from social media. And because of that, because they've seen my face over and over again, and I'm giving them valuable information, I don't put out ads. I put out valuable content that I know people are going to enjoy. And I know that it's going to be helpful. So they end up following my page. They look forward for that next piece of entertaining or valuable information. And when you continue doing that, you build a brand. And so to answer your question shortly, it's in order to compete with these ubiquitous firms and companies that are just dominating the space, you have to pierce through all of that noise and figure out how to create a brand. And so that's exactly what I did. And I have a feeling that within the next few years, my business model is going to be the example of what every other law firm is going to try to accomplish.
So now, do you think that same strategy can work for other business people?
Absolutely. So last year, in 2019, I held my first summit, the first CEO Lawyer Summit, where I brought in doctors, lawyers, and business professionals from all over the country and taught them my exact strategies. And you'll be surprised who was one of the number one attendees at my summit. He was this attorney named Alexander Shunara, who spends about $18 million a year in billboard ads. And, he's been in business. He runs a very successful practice. It's probably 70 times bigger than my practice. And he was right there taking notes the entire weekend of the seminar. And then he left us a phenomenal review about how just advanced we are when it comes to social media marketing, targeting strategies. And so after the summit, I decided to start taking on clients. And right now we represent doctors, lawyers, and other professionals throughout the country and employ these same exact strategies. And if we have a few minutes, I can kind of tell you exactly how we do it.
Go ahead.
So it starts with videos. Everyone tries to compete with static images and tries to run static images as ads. Here's what you have to understand. People don't go to social media to be advertised to. People go to social media to be entertained and maybe educated. Depending on the platform, Google and YouTube are search engines, so people want to be educated. They're looking for a very specific thing. That's why you do these powerful lead gen campaigns. But on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, people just want to be entertained. They want to waste some time. Maybe they want to learn something and just have fun along the way. And most professionals use social media as advertising platforms, and that's where they mess up. So it starts with creating captivating video content. And if you don't know how to start by just answering the most frequently asked questions that you get in your business. Try to put them into a 15, 30, or 45-second video and just blast it on Instagram and Facebook. And the way you determine when it's time to run ads is by seeing what your impressions are and the amount of reactions and engagement that you get per post. The more engagement you get organically, the better your post is going to perform as an ad. Why? Because Facebook, Google, and all these other platforms make money by keeping people on their platforms. So if you figure out the secret sauce of creating content that makes people want to watch it, Facebook and Google will reward you by showing that content to more people. And when they show that content to more people, your brand explodes for pennies on the dollar.
Now I have a question for you, and you brought up kind of my lead into the question about the guy that's, and in some respects, a competitor of yours in the market, another personal injury attorney who has obviously much deeper pockets than you do, and is already a prolific advertiser.
Right.
Some people who are in professional services, especially, are afraid of giving out too much information. And they're afraid of sharing. Like, if I give out all my information, then no one's going to hire me. How do you kind of respond to that, number one? And obviously, you've decided to share a lot of information. How do you kind of separate the free information for what folks are going to pay you for?
You know, I credit a lot of my strategies to Gary Vee. He's kind of like the king of social media. But there's a lot of things that he said that I disagree with. But one of the things I agree with on is give all of your best stuff for free. And a lot of people don't like that concept, because the fact is, if you give away all of your best stuff for free, then common sense would dictate that people don't need you anymore because they have all that information. But people are lazy. People don't want to do things on their own, especially when they trust and they believe that someone can do it better for them. So even if I give you the play-by-play handbook of exactly how to build an 8-figure law practice, which is what I did in just 3 years, chances are you're not going to be able to do it the same way that I did, because you're not going to overcome all of those obstacles the same way that I did. And the reason I have no problem with giving out all of my information for free is because there's one thing that I can always rely on, and that's my creativity. The moment that you can out-create me is the moment that I'm going to lose. And so as long as I still have this creativity, and I do that by always reading books and always going into new sort of markets and networks and meeting different people, my brain is always working. And I'm always looking for ways to enhance and improve my brain and my recognition on social media. So you cannot copy faster than I can create. And that's why I have no problem with sharing everything and exactly what I do step by step on social media. And if you visit my page at CEO Lawyer, you'll see that that's exactly what I do.
Now, what about the folks who say, look, there's a pandemic, everybody's business down, this isn't a great time to be doing business anyway, and they have kind of a built-in excuse that because of COVID, that's why my business is down. That's why I'm not able to sell anybody anything. What are your thoughts on that?
Your business is down because you have no idea how to adapt. That's why your business is down. Your business is down because you've gotten used to complacency. Your business is down because you thought that innovation went out of style. That's why your business is down. We had record after record after record when Corona hit. And you would think that my business would get decimated. Why? Because I'm a car accident lawyer. If people aren't driving cars because there's a pandemic, I shouldn't be able to get clients. But I was still able to bring in more business and grow my business every single month 300% higher and faster than I did the year before. And that's because I adapted. I reallocated my resources, shut down my main office, downsized to a very small location, and said, you know what? Everyone's going to work from home. Everyone gets a brand new MacBook and iPhone. Everyone gets state-of-the-art equipment so they can work from home. I'll make sure that even if your power goes out, you have a Verizon iPhone that's still going to be used as a tethering device so that you can always work around the clock. In exchange for you working from home 8 to 5, I expect you to be more productive because I'm giving you back 2 to 3 hours of drive time. Because if you want to drive to downtown Atlanta, by the time you go through traffic and park and get situated and get your breakfast and all this stuff, you're going to spend a lot of money and time. I'm going to give you that time and money and energy back to give to your family. But what I expect is 110% respect and work ethic when you're in my firm. And I tell people that this is a privilege to work from home. It's not something that you're going to just have automatically. If I see that productivity is down, I'm going to take it away from you. So I reallocated my resources. I switched up my video marketing. I decided to stop running videos that say, hey, here's what you do when you're in a car accident, and instead give people information about the economic injury disaster relief loans, about the Paycheck Protection Program grants from the government, about how to get that $1,200 stimulus check. Because I did have a tax company for a while. I mean, like I said, I've done so many different businesses. So I give people information that's relevant to what they needed at that time. And I built this community of like amazing followers and friends and almost like family on social media because I give them exactly what they need. And so if you believe that COVID decimated your business and there's absolutely no way you can come out of it, maybe you're in the wrong business. Maybe you shouldn't be in business. And that's a really harsh truth. But the fact is, companies like Amazon are putting out of business so many brick and mortar Toys R Us, Foot Locker, all these other businesses that never figured out the online game. Every single business can be susceptible to being blown out by an online competitor. And lawyers, as much as you think that social media and the internet is not going to affect your business, or doctors when it comes to telemed and telehealth, or accountants who are now outsourcing their accounting work to the Philippines because they know that it's so much cheaper than to hire accountants in-house. If you don't figure out how to use the internet and how to use social media, all you're doing is just delaying the inevitable. By 2025, this landscape is going to be so much different. And people are going to look back and say, wow, I wish I would have started investing in social media early.
Now, in your day job, sounds like a lot of your energy is spent on personal injury stuff, but you also now have these consultancies where you're helping other folks kind of leverage the same platforms you are. Like, what's the ratio of your time now on those two initiatives?
I would say about 80-20. 80% of my time is spent on my law practice. 20% is on consulting and growing the media company because my law firm is a client of my media company. And so all the videos get edited through my media company. All the ads are run through my media company. All my funnels and my website and my landing pages. I mean, we have over 1,200 digital ads that are running right now. I can't do that by myself. I learned how to delegate and let a team handle it for me so I can focus on the creative aspect. And, I think it really comes down to people understanding what they're good at. I'm not good at editing my own videos. I'm not good at creating websites. I'm just not the guy that's super, super technical and can run circles around on an Excel spreadsheet. I'm the guy that tells you big picture, here's what needs to happen. And that's why I know that I'm in the right place as the leader of my organizations and not a manager or a supervisor or an employee. Everyone has a specific skill set that they can maximize and they can flourish in. And, when it comes to business owners, some of them are trying too hard to be business owners because they want to prove something to people that they don't even care about. Sometimes you're happier working a 9 to 5 because you get to spend more time with your family. You get to spend more time enjoying yourself and not really struggling for 1, 2, 5, 10 years before you can build something substantial. And so really having that self-awareness, I think, is critical. Absolutely.
So now if somebody wanted to learn more, have a more substantive conversation with you or somebody on your team, what are the coordinates for the personal injury and also for the consulting? So
my brand is CEO Lawyer and my media company is CEO Media. 80% of time that I spend on my personal injury practice and the 20% on my media company, it includes posting on my social media 1 to 5 times every single day. It includes commenting back on every single comment on all of my social media platforms. It includes answering every single one of my direct messages when they come in. So if you want to reach me, it doesn't matter what it's about. You just go to CEO Lawyer on Instagram, Facebook, wherever, or even CEOlawyer.com, and you'll have access to me. You send me a message, you shoot me your question. A lot of times I go live and just answer questions live. And if it's something that I can answer for you real quickly, even if it's not personal injury related, I go ahead and just answer that for you. So shoot me a message at CEO Lawyer on Instagram or go to CEOlawyer.com. And fair warning, the moment you see one of my videos or one of my ads, I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're doing, but I will find you and I will retarget you.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio. And remember, this work would not be possible without the support of our sponsor, OnPay. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.